Hi, I'm Andrew Houston, Managing Director at CTT Group.
Hi, I'm Diane Alexander. I am a psychotherapist, a business consultant and a coach. So I started my profession 25 years ago as a psychotherapist and evolved into working in corporate organisations, specialising in stress management, communication, diversity, inclusion, and have now progressed on to working a lot with neurodiversity as well. I was approached a long time ago, I can't remember exactly how long ago, by Charlotte Ponder, one of the directors here, and asked if I would come in and do some stress management training with the team, and it's just evolved since then, to be honest.
Based upon a relationship that's been going for quite a number of years, we've learned a lot about ourselves, but also have got better at identifying how we can support our staff through the myriad of challenges that individuals have day to day.
It's very diverse, so there will often be sessions scheduled. Well, let's do some training in this area, and then other times it will evolve. I did a critical incident that evolved, so that was more something that's needed quite short term, as opposed to, well, I think we need some training in stress management, or I think we need some training in assertiveness, or then we've just done some training on diversity and mediation. And then it will be that everybody has human lives outside of here, so it may be that a member of CTT is struggling with a personal issue, and this is where company is very, very good, because they recognise if they support that member of staff at that particular time, we just do a few sessions together to support them. They support the individual in their personal life, but long term it also supports them within the business, so they can stay in work, they can meet the challenges that are in a normal day-to-day life in work.
I think there's a lot of work Diane's done in terms of, with some of our leadership team, creating an environment where people can talk or can identify people that they can go and share some of what they're going through. Making sure the leadership team understand the importance of listening, not necessarily taking responsibility for solving, but identifying a problem or how we might be able to then support a particular individual.
Often people come to me when it's on a one-to-one basis and they're really struggling with their manager, they're really struggling with a team member, and we aren't given a toolkit at school on how to deal with assertiveness or life skills. So sometimes my job is actually to challenge them on, well, why aren't you telling your manager what the problem is? Why aren't you creating that space in order for your manager to understand? Because if your manager isn't told what the problem is, then how can they even know that there's a problem? So it's actually helping these people develop and grow. And often if people want to go into a leadership role, they need to have the toolbox to take into that leadership role. And I think having worked with CTT for such a long time, there's this given that it's a psychological safe place and it's a confidential space as well. If anybody comes to see me, Andrew wouldn't necessarily know who it was, he just would rubber stamp it. So it's a very, very confidential space that they can talk about their manager, knowing that there won't be repercussions, but then my job is to hopefully empower them to have that conversation with their manager.
Mental health is, that's one aspect. The physical health is normally, very obvious. Somebody walks in with a broken leg. you can tell they've got a broken leg. Now you wouldn't go and see, a dentist because you got a broken leg. So it's trying to identify what is the problem. Once you understand what the problem is, then how can we as an organisation find the right person, experienced, to be able to help that individual?
I go back to your toolbox. We aren't given this toolbox, so if a member of staff is struggling with another colleague, it's about, well, isn't necessarily your manager's job to go in and sort that situation out. You have a duty of care to inform your manager. You have a duty of care to try and speak to this colleague, because that's how you grow and that's how you thrive within a business. So it is sometimes just about having those tools, the assertive tools or the challenging tools, or the ability to be able to say, I'm really struggling with this. And the other point Andrew raised was people do have lives out of here. You may have a member of staff that's been a really good member of staff for 5 years, and all of a sudden they start coming in late, or they're leaving early, or they're just not connected. It isn't let's raise a performance issue. They're a human being. Let's have a look at what do we need to do to support them, what is going on first, that will then lead to, it may become a performance issue, but we do need to look at, under the 2010 Equality Act, all companies have a duty of care to the mental health of their staff, and CTT are very good at that. They do really acknowledge that. You're only as good as your people. So just ticking a box is not enough. Your business will not thrive if you adopt that attitude. You have to take care of your people. As Andrew said, if you've got a broken leg, you would encourage someone to go to a professional to get that broken leg fixed. Well, I don't have these members of staff or do the training. I always say this to teach them how to be a therapist. What I teach them and help them do is become empowered to be able to take that act and do that work themselves. What stood out to me most about working with CTT is they are really committed to the process of working with their staff. They don't just tick a box. If an incident arises, straight away they recognise they need to invest in some training. If staff are struggling in a particular area, they're very committed to investing in that time. Julie will say to me, can we book something in the diary? Or this is really, we could do this sooner rather than later. So it's all about when staff need it. Not many companies these days will do that because it's a cost to the business. But what I say is, you get that cost back because of the culture that you create here. People want to stay, you retain staff, you aren't having any recruitment costs, you aren't having more training costs to take on new staff. So long term, it does pay off.
Diane, thank you for spending the time with us today and sharing some of your experiences with us. I know our relationship will continue ongoing into the future, and I'd say to any other organisation who's perhaps not yet maybe tackled some of the challenges associated with mental health, I could strongly recommend that they get in touch with you.
Thank you very much.